In medieval Europe, adultery was not treated as a private matter. It was a public crime, a moral infection, a threat to social order. And the punishment was designed not just to correct, but to terrify every other woman watching. What happened to wives accused of cheating was not uniform. It depended on the region, the church, the husband, the mood of the crowd. But one thing was consistent. Mercy was rare. Humiliation was guaranteed. In medieval Europe was far worse than you thought. The accusation rarely came loudly. It usually began as a whisper. A neighbor leaning closer at the well. A servant lowering their voice in the corridor. A husband watching a little longer than usual. In medieval Europe, suspicion traveled faster than truth, and once it reached the wrong ears, there was no way to stop what came next. For a married woman, being accused of infidelity did not begin with a trial. It began with eyes, with silence following her through the market, with doors closing more quickly than before. By the time her name was spoken publicly, the verdict had already been decided. She was brought into the square just after dawn, when the town was awake and curious. This was important. Punishment was never meant to be hidden, it was meant to be seen. Her clothing was torn, not to expose her body, but to expose her status. Fine fabric was stripped away and replaced with rough cloth. A rope was tied around her waist, sometimes her neck, not to kill her, but to mark her. People she had known her entire life stood watching. Some looked away, most did not. She was ordered to walk through the market, past the church, down streets where she had once lived without fear. Words followed her. Some shouted, some laughed, others simply watched, learning the lesson being taught without a single word needing to be spoken. When she cried, it was taken as proof. When she stayed silent, it was taken as defiance. There was no correct way to suffer. In certain towns, her hair was cut before the walk began. Long hair was seen as beauty, virtue, womanhood, so it was taken. Locks fell to the ground while the crowd watched, not in shock, but in approval. She was then made to continue, lighter, colder, smaller than she had been before. And when the walk ended, the punishment did not, because the mark followed her. Shame did not fade, it settled. Days later, when she returned to the streets, people recognized her instantly. Shame did not fade, it settled. But humiliation was only the beginning. In some places, punishment moved from land to water. She was taken to the edge of a river as the town followed behind, hands bound, ankles tied, not tightly enough to stop her breathing, just enough to remove her control. A priest stood nearby, speaking quietly. God would decide, they said. She was lowered slowly. The water was cold, shockingly cold. Her breath vanished as her body hit the surface. If she sank, she was declared innocent, often too late. If she floated, she was pulled back out, guilty, alive, condemned. Survival did not save her. It only changed what came next. Sometimes she was returned to the square, dripping and shaking, to face the crowd once more. Other times she was taken somewhere quieter. A wooden chair waited at the edge of a pond. Straps tightened around her arms and legs. A lever creaked as she was lowered into the water again and again. Each time she emerged coughing, gasping, the crowd watched more closely. This was not meant to kill her. It was meant to break her. And when the water could do no more, pain took its place. In certain regions, punishment came with blows. Not hidden, not restrained. She was tied to a post. The first strike always surprised her, not because of the pain, but because of the sound. The crowd reacted before she could. After that, time became meaningless. Pain blurred into noise, noise into silence. When it ended, she was untied and told to walk home, if she could. But for many women, punishment did not end in public. It followed them into their homes. In medieval law, a husband had the right to discipline his wife. Accusation made that right stronger. Bruises were not questioned. Isolation was not investigated. Some women were locked away in small rooms, fed sparingly, spoken to rarely. Others were sent to convents they did not choose, where silence became permanent. Their lives did not end. They simply stopped belonging to them. And perhaps the cruelest truth of all was how easily this began. A husband wanting another marriage, a dispute over property, a neighbor's jealousy. The accusation did not need to be true. It only needed to be believed. History remembers medieval Europe as a world of honor and faith. But for women, survival depended not on innocence, but on obedience. Because once accused, a woman's story was no longer hers to tell, and punishment once begun never truly ended.